Hey, what's going on? It's Joey Myers from the Hitting Performance Lab, and I'm doing another article for SwingSmarter.com all around the Mick, or Mickey Mantle. In this video, we're going to compare Mickey Mantle's swing to another explosive rotational Olympic athlete, the javelin throwing event. So the parallels that we're going to draw, we're talking about the principles of explosive rotational power. As some of you might know or have read, my stuff is all about that principles are few, methods are many. And if we don't have the principles and we just look at methods, which you find a lot of methods on YouTube, just videos of drills and mindless drills, if you don't grasp the principles of explosive rotational power, you're going to be lost. So the two basic principles we're going to compare here between Mickey Mantle and Jan, who's the Olympic world record holder in the javelin throw, we're going to look at forward momentum and this idea of the catapult loading system, or the springy material that it comes from myofascial and connective tissue in our body, and it closely resembles the jumping kangaroo or the endless bounding gazelle. Now with Mickey Mantle, I really wanted to look at his swing because I thought he was a bigger guy than he was. He's actually only 5'11". He was 5'11", 195 pounds. Very, very small guy compared to today's standards, and he's got the longest official recorded home run in baseball history. And the reports range from 650 feet all the way up to 720 feet. Who knows, but 650-foot shot, anything over 600, even to round down to 600 feet, is an absolute shot, especially for a guy who only weighed 195 pounds and was only 5'11". So let's jump right into it. A couple clips might run through of Mickey Mantle. This is him batting right-handed. Of course, those of you know Mickey Mantle was a switch hitter. And what we're going to do is let's look at him in slow-mo. Those of you that saw the Babe Ruth video, definitely a little different setup that Mickey's got over the Babe. The Babe had his feet were basically together, but the principle's the same. He takes his foot, picks it up. He's in a good athletic stance, so he's got a nice angle here with his back leg. It's not his back knee is not floating over his foot. He's got a nice angle, and what that's going to help him do is once he picks his foot up, it's going to allow his hips to fall forward. It's just a relaxed motion. He just picks the foot up and just lets it fall forward. Even reaches out a little bit with it to get a little bit more of his momentum coming forward. The basic idea and premise here is Mickey Mantle is trying to get this bat to unweight. He's trying to unweight this bat. Get it to where no matter how heavy of a bat that he swung, or like Babe Ruth swung, he's trying to get it to where it's unweighted, and he does that with his forward momentum. You're going to see the same thing with the javelin thrower, Jan the javelin thrower. But you see that him just pick that foot up, let the hips fall forward, and like I said, even reaches out with that front foot a little bit. See that? The other thing, the catapult loading system. Now that's a unique piece of equipment that we have that most people don't know about that are in the baseball, softball industry, fathers, instructors, is what we're seeing is in explosive rotational movement. One of the major principles is that there's this, imagine this X. This all comes from Thomas Myers' study on his 30+ years of study on out of his book Anatomy Trains, for those that want to read up a little bit more and dig into the biomechanics of it. It's very thick textbook material. It is, for those that are familiar with some of the information with biomechanics, you probably be able to, it's a little easier to read for you. But what you see is this X pattern that happens from the front shoulder to the back hip and the back shoulder to the front hip, both front and back. Just imagine this X coming across here. Each leg of the X has to either shorten. If one side shortens, the other side lengthens. So with Mickey Mantle in his right-handed swing, you're going to see his front shoulder is going to come towards his back hip, and you're going to see this back shoulder move away from his front hip. And that's what you're going to see. And on the back side, it's the opposite. So if the front shoulder is moving in towards the front shoulder, the front hip are moving closer together, opposite hip, then the same shoulder back to the back hip are going to be moving away from each other. So it's this compressing, using these tension and compression forces inside the body of myofascia and connective tissue that gives us this spring-like material that you see in jumping kangaroos or bounding gazelles. And then what you'll see is most of the work of loading the spring is done by the time his front foot hits. Then from there, it's all the counteraction of loading that spring, or loading that catapult, as I like to call it, the catapult loading system. So with the combination of forward momentum and the catapult loading system, you see the Mick, not a very big guy, but he hits like a big guy, killing the ball. So let's look at the same principles involved. I'm going to put this in slow motion and loop it, of Jan, our javelin thrower, world record javelin thrower. As you see, let me slow it down a little bit more. As you see, he's running forward. Obviously, we can't do this as a hitter. We can't run towards the pitcher. We can't even do like a hammer throw and take our eyes off our target. Just think that this is a different event to where they're trying to throw an object as far as they can out into a field, a football field. With hitting, what we're trying to do is we're not throwing the object we have in our hand, but we're trying to hit an object coming at us. So little different, but you're going to see the principles are the same. So you see the forward momentum being built. Right here, Jan, he can't step over that front line or else he's going to get disqualified, that white line here. Right? But what you see is this forward momentum. Here's a white line here. He can't go over. Forward momentum, and then we're going to slow it down and try and see if we can see the opening and closing of this catapult loading system. So as he's taking his steps and he's getting ready to launch it, you can see that front shoulder has closed in towards the back hip. And then as he begins to open up, you see it open. Okay, you see, let's back it up one more. Here, so we got the shoulders coming towards the back hip. This front hip and the back shoulder are moving away from each other, and you'll see this reverse as he goes to launch. You can see, if I back it up one, you can see all that catapult loading system firing forward along with all that momentum that he's building as he runs. Like I said, looks a little different to hitting, but the same principles are the same, the forward momentum and the catapult loading system. I hope this video was helpful. I'll see you in the next one.